All right, what's going on, class? Welcome to week number 14. That is right, week number 14 of your 9407 class, which is Intellectual Freedom and its Discontents. As always, I am your professor, Dr. Jace K. Austin. And today, our check in video will consist first of me saying Happy Thanksgiving or Happy Harvest or Happy Black Friday or whatever you celebrate and whatever will not be offensive to you. Because I want 2020 to end on an okay note. Like, I don't think it's gonna end on a good note, because like good is like up here. 2020 has been way down there. But if we can get 2020 to end right there, just end somewhere around there. And then maybe 2021 we can start raising that joint up. I don't know. That's what I'm hoping for, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. You just never really know. But anyway, so first of all, if you find yourself getting bored during the Thanksgiving holiday, and well, if you find yourself getting bored during the Thanksgiving holiday and you want something to read, and you haven't read your classmates' banned book reports yet, then by all means get into that, because that sounds like it could be something that could occupy your time in a very productive way. And again, that is why I had the banned book reports done the way they were done, was so that you all would have the ability and freedom to read them in your spare time and just get some more knowledge about the books that have been banned, because those, oddly enough, can end up being conversational pieces at library conferences or when you are otherwise communicating with librarians. And then what we're going to jump into today is another intellectual freedom issue, again related to privacy, but this is one that set the library Twitter sphere on fire last week. So you might already be familiar with this. And this is, of course, this bullshit has to happen in my home state, but whatever. So this is, for those of you who have not run across this yet, this gentleman, Chadwick Jason Seagraves, does have a library and information science degree. However, my understanding, based on a statement that the North Carolina State University Libraries put out, my understanding is that he was no longer working within the library IT, that he was working elsewhere on campus. However, so what happened with this guy is he was somebody who had apparently been doxing people, including students, for quite a while. And then Anonymous stepped in, good old Anonymous. They stepped in and they doxed him and revealed him a a state employee, an employee of actually the university with the largest employment in North Carolina, because Chapel Hill, even though Chapel Hill is the flagship university, North Carolina State actually has more students. Um, so yes, this North Carolina State University library, former library employee, but still IT employee, turned out to be the local leader of the Proud Boys. And yeah, so the Proud Boys are one of these paramilitary groups. There's some debate as to whether or not the Proud Boys actually are officially white supremacists or not. Apparently, there is some confusion just in their ranks, even as to whether or not they are white supremacist or just have a lot of white supremacist members, but are just anti-government and not white supremacists. But whatever the case may be, this is not really somebody that this isn't somebody that or I should say that the Proud Boys are not a group of people that uh, state employees should be getting mixed up in with or whatever, and certainly not a group of people that librarians will hopefully want to associate with. And the thing is, this gentleman again is alleged for legal reasons. I know to say alleged. He is alleged to have shared confidential patron data and confidential student data beyond where it should be. So this has thrown the library world into quite a bit of a tizzy. And so I am just going to quickly say you can read this blog post yourself. There is an address up there. But what I'm going to do is just very quickly, and hopefully I can keep this under 12 minutes so that you can enjoy your Thanksgiving a holiday and enjoy working on those final papers. But things that the reason why this is a wake up call to libraries is because this is a demonstration that the threat to patron privacy could come from within. Now, it was kind of funny, like as the Twitter conversations about this were happening, there were a lot of white librarians who were saying, oh man, this is so surprising, I can't believe it. And librarians of color, we were just sitting there on Twitter like, oh. Because that's what it was. I think that there is just a little bit of a blindness, really, to some of the racism that does exist in our field. Our field is seen as super liberal and super progressive, and so people think that our workers are beyond racism. Trust me, they're not. And so one of the things that got people just kind of talking after this happened was that people recognized the need to, again, be more proactive in protecting patron data. And also, this was a good blog post as far as discussing what we need to do in order to just make sure that when the threats are potentially from within, and they very well can be. Some of you all have racist or sexist or homophobic coworkers and you don't even realize it if you work in libraries. And that's just I'm just gonna keep it real on that. But instead of getting caught up in the naivete, there are some steps that we can take just to make sure that our patrons are better protected. So, and this blog post does do a great job with that. So first things first, practice data minimization. Only collect, use, and retain the data that is necessary for library operations. Implement the principle of least privilege as far as who has access. So yeah, definitely not everybody needs access to patron data. And there are going to be times even when maybe people within CERC are going to need the access, but people elsewhere are not going to need it. Yeah, just make sure that it's known who has access to data. And I also like taking the step of when there are changes, having the staff member who made the change initial. And that way those things can be kept track of. Regularly review internal access to patron data. People will change roles within a university or within an organization or leave the library. Make sure that there's some regular recurring sort of schedule as to, when you are removing these privileges from people as necessary. Confidentiality agreements, I think, are a must, and there are some examples here, so that was a good thing to include. Make sure that people sign something that shows that they can be punished if they violate the privacy and confidentiality of library users. And then, of course, regularly train. Okay, and I'm not going to say too much about that. The last thing that I want to talk about really quick is you will see this survey link in the announcement as well. And this survey link is to the survey for the debate. Tell me who you think did good. Tell me how well you think both sides did. And then I will share the results with the debate teams. So that's it for me. I am Dr. Jace. Happy Thanksgiving, whatever you're serving. Again, get a taste. I am out. See you next week, which will be the final week of instruction for the fall 2020. semester. Have a good night.